Oh, all righty. Welcome everybody to the final class for our nonprofit cloud consultancy course. And Melissa's not with us today, so I'll be leading it. And while this is our last class, we do plan on holding a wrap-up class in a couple of weeks, but I'll give more information on that later. And so we are now on part 3, section 5 of ongoing data management and best practices. You already know that Melissa and I run this, and I'll be leading today. Oops, and then go the wrong direction. And just some housekeeping. Office hours, we'll actually talk about that at the end with the homework. As usual, all the stuff is on the Llama site, including the homework and the video from last week. And have any of you scheduled your certification yet? Okay. Anyways, so we have covered the basic functionality of Nonprofit Cloud and addressed correlating the organization's need with the Nonprofit Cloud tools. We practiced implementing those tools and looked at the configurations and customizations needed for some use cases. We've discovered, strategized, tested, and deployed. So what's next? Although this is the last chapter in the book and of our course, it is not the least. Managing vast amounts of data coming into a Salesforce instance will be an ongoing process. As with any work, maintenance is an important task that continues after the initial excitement of the project is long gone. We'll cover 3 areas: how to prevent, mitigate, and resolve duplicate data, importing data, and general best practices, tips, and tricks. If you have a Salesforce instance, the chances that you have duplicate data in that system are almost certain. Duplicate data diminishes the impact of having Salesforce as a single source of truth. And that is only one challenge with duplicate data. Storage becomes an issue as well. Reports are not accurate. AI can be skewed. Data can even become corrupted. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So let's first look at how we can prevent duplicates. As a certified Salesforce administrator, you are aware of the matching and duplicate rules available in Salesforce setup under data, duplicate, and duplicate management. NPSP adds a matching rule named NPSP Contact Personal Email Match. This matching rule sets the home email field and the last name field as the unique identifiers, along with a fuzzy match of the first name. And just to explain, fuzzy match means it may be similar, like the same initial, or spelled similarly, but it looks like it could be the same. So whether it's John or John spelled with just a J, that would be considered like a fuzzy match. Notice that when the standard NPSP contact personal email match rule is activated, the standard account, contact, and lead matching rules are deactivated. Therefore, there is no standard NPSP matching rule for accounts. Once you have the matching rules configured as you need them, it is time to add the matching rules to the appropriate duplicate rule. Or if it has not already been done, activate the duplicate rule. Go to Setup, Data, Duplicate Management, Duplicate Rules. When NPSP installed, the standard matching rule and the standard duplicate rule are added to the Salesforce instance. However, you need to check that it is activated, and which would be here. if you intend to use the standard rules instead of creating a custom matching and duplicate rules. Depending on the actions and operations, here are actions, here are operations. You have said the duplicate rule can prevent what it thinks is a duplicate from being created at all. Or, and best practice recommends it, the rule can allow creation of the duplicate, but not before a warning is generated that it may be a duplicate. And of course, there are consequences to setting these rules. And you can see on this one, the action on create is to allow, the action on edit is to allow, and there's also operations to alert and report on the create, but not on the edit. For this particular one, you can set them all that way. And you can customize what the alert text is. And you can see that this is the matching rule that is assigned to this particular duplicate rule. And this is the matching criteria that is used. So it has the first name is fuzzy or blank, last name is exact, and blank is not empty, and email is exact again and not empty. And that's the way the matching criteria looks. So some of the consequences to duplicate data prevention. So you can block the action so that if it suspects a duplicate, it will not create the new account. However, that means somebody tries to enter something, it will just block it and you won't get it. And the user will receive an error message that they cannot create the contact. Secondly, if you if you see a view duplicates link, the page will open with the suspected duplicate contacts. So you can determine whether they are in fact duplicates or not. And then the option to set the applicant, the action to allow, allows the creation and then alert to the user. And when you are in NPSP, when you are creating a duplicate contact, you must also remember that you are also creating a duplicate household account. Now, if you do merge the two contacts, we'll get into a little later, it will remove one of the households when that is done. Duplicate data is with us always, no matter how diligent users are. It's a fact of life. For example, Salesforce does not alert users to duplicates on the mobile app. So, what are the best practices for resolving duplicate data? Creating a data maintenance schedule is an excellent way to prevent and resolve duplicate issues. Most objects have list view entitled New This Week. Reviewing those records for completeness, accuracy, and duplication helps resolve challenges early. Additionally, creating reports for users that uncover missing or inaccurate data can improve overall results as well. And as you can see here, this is a report that was used to find contacts that are missing their phone numbers. So you can go in and add them, or as you are probably looking through this, you'll go, oh, look, the email is missing as well. And you can take advantage of doing that right away. And if you do it at least on a weekly basis, you won't run into the problem that 3 or 4 or 6 or months or a year down the road, you go, oh, darn, we're missing all this information. Where do we send emails? Or if we need to contact somebody, we have no way to do that. So keeping on top of your maintenance and making sure your data is accurate on an ongoing basis is advisable. If you go into the NPSP settings, you can find the NPSP health check, which identifies NPSP related data issues. It can be accessed as I said, in NPSP settings under the system tools. The results identify where data inconsistencies may be. And as you can see, all of these are in green. Should there be an issue, you'll notice it because these will go red to indicate that there is an issue. Using these tools on a regular basis to maintain the integrity of your data will improve NPSP functionality. If you are working in an older instance or one that has not been well maintained, you should explore third-party tools as well on the App Exchange to do the initial duplicate cleanup. So one of the reasons data gets duplicated is there are many ways for data to enter a Salesforce system. Data can be instantiated by an experienced cloud user or a website or a Salesforce user. Data can be arriving via API, and data can be manually imported using dataloader.io or other tools you learned about as a Salesforce administrator. Some of those ways may not respect the duplicate and matching rules an administrator has created. And as we reviewed, the NPSP data architecture is different from the standard Salesforce architecture. Now, with the NPSP data importer, it is designed specifically for the task of importing data into NPSP. The standard data import requires several passes. For example, if you are importing new donors and their donations, it can take a minimum of 3 imports. First, you import accounts or households. Then you import contacts or donors. And then you import opportunities or donations. As all these require the appropriate CSV file and the appropriate way to relate each object to another. It can be incredibly time-consuming and arduous and is prone to human error. NPSP data importer streamlines the import by creating accounts, contact records, opportunities, and other related records at one shot. NPSP data importer has also built in matching rules to help prevent duplicates. Sounds too good to be true? Well, let's examine a use case. There are 4 data import templates available in the form of Excel spreadsheets: account and contact import, donation import for individuals, donation import for organizations, and recurring donation import. Most of the work to import the data is done in the spreadsheets and the CSV files. If you want data to be as error-free as possible before importing it, a best practice is to start with a set of sample data. The nonprofit we are working with here has an individual donors and the amounts that they have given over the past 5 years that need to be imported to Salesforce. So we will start with the donation import individual spreadsheet. Here is where we will stage the data from the nonprofit. 10 sample donors are in the following screenshot of our spreadsheet, as you can see. You will notice that the spreadsheet has contact 1 and contact 2 headers. So let's just go back here. Here's contact 1. Oh, and unfortunately on this, you can't actually see it. So, okay. The contacts in this field are grouped into the same household account. So that's one way if you have households that you can import them at the same time and make sure they're in the same household. Also note that you can add multiple donations by using the same contact 1 fields as on many rows as there are donations. You can also designate the donations as grants or membership by changing the record type in the donation record type name field. Once you have the data in the spreadsheet ready, it's time to configure the data import wizard. Access the data import wizard via the app launcher or the waffle menu and select NPSP data imports. Then click Import. The following wizard opens. And has anybody ever used this or seen this before? No? Okay. So you can see that it asks whether you are doing standard objects or custom objects, and there's actually one that says NPSP data imports. If you're adding new records, you don't need to do the match. It's if you're updating records, it will ask you which ones to match by. And this is where you can upload your CSV for the import. So once you've done that, you need to confirm that the custom object that shows on the left-hand column is the NPSP data imports, and click it. For the NPSP data importer, you always want to add new records, but you can leave all the additional settings in the center column, then connect the appropriate CSV file with your data in the right-hand column and click Next, which brings you to this page. This will open the Edit Map field mapping page. Confirm that the fields in the spreadsheet are accurately mapped to the fields in Salesforce. So this is the Salesforce object you're mapping to, and this is a header on the CSV. So just make sure that if this is where you want, or this is where you want this particular column to go, and then it gives you some examples from your spreadsheet of the items in that column, just to remind you. Then you click Next to review the information, and then click Start Import. When you click OK, the system will take you to the bulk data load jobs page to verify the success of your import. Then you return to the NPSP data imports tab and access the to be imported list view to confirm the records. Note that the to be imported list view is an important staging area. It is not the actual instantiation of the data into production. So just to go through that again, this is where you will actually do some final configuration and begin the data import process. When you click the Start Data Import, the system will open to this page, and you can give a more granular configuration. Now, the default configuration options are listed here. Depending on the data you are importing and the business rules of the nonprofit, this may need to be adjusted for the best results. The batch process size is often a challenge and may need to be configured to 10 or lower. Doing a test run or dry run is helpful to work out these challenges before the actual data import. You do this by clicking the Begin Dry Run, which is this button here. If the dry run returns errors, these can be addressed in the Dry Run Errors list view. If the dry run does not return errors, or once the errors have been corrected, we are ready to import the data. Following the same steps for the dry run, you just instead click Begin Data Import Process, which is the highlighted button here on the configuration options page. The NPSP data import shows the progress just as they did on the dry run. Okay, any questions so far? I know this is a lot of information on this one here. Okay. So, helping your users understand how important it is to maintain the integrity of your data is critical. It really is a team effort to leverage the nonprofit cloud to get the highest return on your investment. Good data hygiene will protect the organization's investment and return information via reports and dashboards or Tableau for more impact on the social issues the nonprofit is tackling. For all the work that you do in Salesforce, your users probably do much more. They are constantly creating new data and updating existing data. Make it easy for them. Set the matching rules and duplicate rules so that users are easily alerted when they start to create a record that may be a duplicate. Configuring the settings to alert users to duplicates when they edit records can also help with ongoing maintenance and data hygiene. Merging a duplicate record as it is discovered allows a distribution of the hygiene duties. Note, merging requires delete permissions. So if a user does not have delete permissions, they will not be able to do any of the merging. Providing your users with access to the appropriate data, reports, and dashboards also encourages them to be good housekeepers. Training is an integral part of understanding Trailhead, which you've been doing throughout the course, is a free training tool that is gamified to encourage users to better understand the system. And it's not just for the administrators, and users can gather insight as well from some of the badges. One of the single best practices that you can adopt when using Nonprofit Cloud internally or as a consultant is to document. And that's why we say document, document, document. Document each change, each process, each discussion. You may not always be the one who is the system administrator or even user of the system. And putting the thought process together after the fact is difficult when you are trying to troubleshoot something that was created before you began. There are many ways to document as there are to configure. So choose one that all of the stakeholders on the team can access. It may be a Google document, or it may be GitHub, or maybe a third-party project management app. Start documenting from day one, and you will never regret it. And now there's also DevOps Center, which is free on Salesforce. Some key features of the DevOps Center that reduce the cost and complexity of deployments include better organized work. Teams can track and deploy the associated changes as work items. Records on the new custom objects delivered with the DevOps Center application that can be operated against the Salesforce flows and other platform operations. Automated change tracking to accelerate releases. As teams make changes in their sandboxes, DevOps Center automatically tracks them. Users can then point and click to promote their desired metadata components and ignoring those that are not relevant. This removes spreadsheets, sticky notes, and change sets as a means to track changes. There are customized pipelines. Companies can now easily create a pipeline that makes sense for each team and associate stages with sandboxes to build and test. And then there's the seamless integration with source control. Starting with GitHub, teams can use clicks to connect DevOps Center to their version control systems. This centralizes changes in a source and does so in a way that is friendly for those who don't have experience with Git, branch management, or pull requests. Now teams can enforce DevOps best practices and governance without the typical hurdles. Easy ways to migrate and deploy changes with clicks. DevOps Center visualizes the entire development pipeline and enables teams to bundle and migrate changes from one stage to another with clicks. And finally, it supports fusion teams. While most associate DevOps with highly technical talent, DevOps Center provides a low-code solution for DevOps best practices, which means that all users, not only highly technical talent, can participate in the development pipeline and deliver business solutions. And I know that was a lot to take in. It was a lot to say, but DevOps is definitely on its way for the future. So good to start learning about it as soon as possible. So in summary, data maintenance is an ongoing task that must be done to fully leverage all the functionality of Nonprofit Cloud and NPSP. Data imports are also a regular task, so we have explored how to make this task simple and accurate with the NPSP data importer and advanced mapping. Managing the technology is an important role for nonprofit cloud consultants. However, managing human expectations is equally important. Know how to get users interested and excited and motivated to use the tools. Nonprofit Cloud is a flexible and robust tool. And now you are well trained to use it to #do more good. So what is next? Well, as I mentioned at the beginning, we will have one last meeting to catch up and share any lessons that you've learned from over the course of the 16 classes, or to give you a chance if you have been able to build an app with your NPSP and your DevOrg. We'd love to see what you've done. And if you have taken the certification, please come and share how you did on it. And we will be taking a break next week. So we will be meeting again on April 4th, and we'll send out an invitation again, just to remind you just before that. But we hope many of you can attend and just give us an update on how you are doing with your NPSP. And we still have a little bit of homework left. There's still a couple of trailhead badges. And then under the additional resources, I have put together a trail mix that I've tried really hard to include all the badges that were part of the course. If you find I've missed one or two, which is possible, please let me know and I'll be sure to add it. But that gives you a way, if you follow that trail mix and you haven't finished all the badges up till all the modules up to now, it gives you a sort of one-stop place to keep track of what you have completed and what you haven't. And then there's some additional help documents with regards to matching rules and duplicate rules, and a resource for the NPSP data importer templates. Now, with office hours, I won't be scheduling an official office hours this week. However, if anybody has any questions, please just feel free to reach out to me and we could set up a one-on-one meeting if you need some help with anything that you are working on. And as usual, we will attach the current video replay before we upload the slides to the Llama site. And with that, hold on, there's one more slide. There's a quote from Melissa, because she's still here in spirit. Automate what can be automated so humans have more time to do what can't be automated. So that's one of her favorite sayings. So we'll end with that, and I will just stop recording.